You're sitting by the phone again. Not because you're waiting for bad news, because you're waiting to matter. You texted first, again. You checked in, again. You made the plan, again. And when they had something better, they forgot you existed. You've been the second option your entire life. The backup friend, the backup lover, the one they come to when the person they actually wanted wasn't available. And the worst part isn't that they didn't choose you. The worst part is you kept showing up anyway. You know what being wanted looks like. You've seen it. You've watched it happen to other people. You've watched someone's face light up when the person they love walks in. You just never saw that face. Looking at you, it wasn't always this heavy. There was a time you believed someone would choose you first, pick you first, want you first, but that time passed, and now you're not even sure you'd believe it if it happened. How did you become this? The person who gives everything and still isn't enough. The one who's always there but never missed. How did you end up in every room and still feel like no one's reason for being there? There's a reason, and it didn't start with them. It started long before them, and once you see it, you'll understand why you've been living in a waiting room your entire life. Subscribe to Voices of the Mind, where human behavior is explained, where patterns, emotions, and hidden motives finally come to light. If you've ever felt like someone's second choice, stay with me on this one. It started in the house you grew up in, before you had words for it, before you even knew what chosen meant. Maybe it was a parent who was there, but not really there, present in the house, absent in the moments that mattered. They fed you, clothed you, kept the lights on, but when you needed to be seen, truly seen, they were looking somewhere else. Maybe there was a sibling, the one who got the attention without asking, the one who got praised for existing, while you performed, achieved, tried harder, and still got the leftover version of love. You learned something in that house, something no one taught you with words. You learned it with silence, with the look that went past you, with the hug that felt like obligation. You learned that love is something other people get first, and you get what's left. So you adapted. You became easy to deal with, low maintenance. The kid who didn't ask for much. The kid who didn't cause problems. The kid who made themselves small, so they wouldn't be an inconvenience. And that followed you into friendships. You were the friend who was always available, the one who adjusted their schedule, changed their plans, showed up early and stayed late. But when you needed someone, the phone was quiet. You told yourself it was fine. You told yourself you didn't mind. But your chest told you something different. That tightness when you see the group photo you weren't invited to. That sting when you find out they made plans without you. That slow, familiar sinking when you realize you were never part of the inner circle. You were just close enough to see it. But the friendships weren't where it hurt the most. That came later. That came when you fell in love. You loved someone, and you gave them everything you never got. The attention, the priority, the consistency. You made them your first choice, every single time. And they let you. They let you pour. They let you show up. They let you carry the weight of the entire relationship on your back, and they never once asked themselves, am I doing the same for them? You planned the dates, you sent the texts, you remembered the details, you made them feel wanted. And what did you get? Breadcrumbs, half replies, "I've been busy," excuses that you accepted because even their minimum was more attention than you were used to. You stayed, not because it was good, but because it was familiar. This is what love looked like to you. Reaching for someone who's just out of reach, earning what other people get for free, working for a spot that should have already been yours. And when they left, because they always leave when they find the person they actually want, you didn't even feel surprised. You felt confirmed, like the universe was reminding you of something you already knew. You are not the one people stay for, and you went quiet, not because you had nothing to say, but because you learned that no one was listening anyway. There's a name for what's been happening to you. Several names, actually, and once you hear them, you won't be able to unhear them. Psychology calls the first one rejection sensitivity. It's a heightened awareness of any sign, real or imagined, that someone doesn't want you. A delayed text, a shifted tone, a glance that lasted too short. Your brain scans for rejection the way a smoke detector scans for fire. Constantly, automatically, exhaustingly. And it didn't come from nowhere. It was built in childhood, one ignored moment at a time. The second concept is anxious attachment. It develops when your caregivers were inconsistent. Sometimes they were warm, sometimes they were walls. So you never knew which version you were going to get. And that uncertainty wired your brain to cling, to overgive, to monitor every shift in someone's mood and assume it's your fault. The third is something psychologists call core shame. Not guilt. Guilt says I did something bad. Core shame says I am something bad. It's the belief, buried so deep you don't even recognize it as a belief, that you are fundamentally not enough. That if people really saw you, they'd choose someone else. And so you hide behind performance, behind people-pleasing, behind being the easiest person in the room to deal with. And the fourth, the one that keeps the cycle alive, is over-functioning. You do more than your share in every relationship, every job, every friendship. Not because you're generous, because you're terrified. Terrified that if you stop being useful, you'll stop being wanted. So you carry and carry and carry until your back breaks. And even then, you apologize for falling. Do you know what this has cost you? Not in theory. In life, you stayed in relationships that starved you. Because being someone's second choice felt better than being no one's choice at all. You lowered your standards so many times. You forgot you ever had them. You gave your best years to people who gave you their worst. Your best energy, your best attention, your best love. And they spent it like change. Didn't even notice when it was gone. You lost yourself, not all at once, slowly, one compromise at a time, one it's fine at a time, one swallowed need at a time, until the person staring back at you in the mirror was someone you didn't recognize, someone built entirely to make other people comfortable. But there's something underneath all of this that you haven't looked at yet. Something harder than everything I've just said. The hardest truth isn't that they didn't choose you. The hardest truth is that you didn't choose you either. You abandoned yourself first. Every time you said yes when your body screamed no. Every time you accepted less because you were afraid to ask for more. Every time you made yourself smaller so someone else could feel bigger. You chose them over you, Again and again and again. You taught people how to treat you, not with words, with tolerance. You showed them that your needs didn't matter by never voicing them. You showed them that you'd stay no matter what, by staying no matter what. You showed them you were a second choice, by treating yourself like one. You weren't overlooked. You were seen. They just chose someone else anyway. And that's the wound you've been carrying. Not invisibility, visibility without value, being right there in plain sight, and still not enough. And you're not the only one. There are people watching this right now who have never once been someone's first call, first thought, first choice. They've spent their whole lives in the waiting room, watching other names get called, watching other people get chosen, sitting there, quiet, patient, still hoping. Some of them are young, just starting, already learning to shrink. Some of them are old, decades deep, too tired to fight for a spot anymore. And all of them carry the same question in their chest. The same one you carry. What's wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you, but something was done to you, and you've been repeating it ever since. Not because you're weak, because it's all you know. The waiting room isn't a place. It's a belief that love is something you have to earn, that attention is something you have to deserve, that your presence alone is never quite enough, and you've been sitting in that belief for as long as you can remember. If this explains something you've been living, subscribe to Voices of the Mind. Like this if you've spent your whole life being someone's backup plan. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. You're still sitting by the phone, but now you know why it's quiet. Not because you're not worth calling, but because you never required anyone to. And the people who should have chosen you first never had to, because you were always going to be there anyway. This is Voices of the Mind, where human behavior is explained, where patterns, emotions, and hidden motives finally come to light.